There you go.
Okie doke. Here we go. Here we are. Please forgive us. It took a little bit, but I believe now you should be able to see us. There you go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I said, we are trying something new. Actually, we are expanding. We've been telling you guys for a while that we're going to expand to the platforms. And you join us on Locals for exclusive content. And we love that you're there. And Rumble, the video platform, and Locals belong together. So today we're simultaneously streaming to YouTube and Rumble. And the plan is to cut off after a while on YouTube and ask you guys to join us over in Rumble. And I'll explain the reasons why, but first let me welcome you. Let me remind you all, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're unapologetically free inspired tribe. It's so wonderful that you're all here. I already see a few people here jumping on. I saw Riesel from Saskatchewan. Wonderful, good to see you. I see Magnificent Music, and welcome. I also see Brad Lee. Good to see you. Pippi's here. Wonderful to see you all. Thoughts Become Things. Gypsy Daisy. Stuart K. Thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, what we're going to do today is we're going to do the first real, truthfully real, uncensored, unfiltered live stream. And the reason why we're going to cut off on YouTube and only stream the whole live stream on Rumble is honestly because Kristin and I are both tired of inventing words, trying to talk around certain subjects, or even biting our own tongue to not say something that we want to say. It doesn't feel inspired anymore. But as you all know, YouTube's guidelines simply are becoming more restrictive. So we can say things here that we want to say. Now, if you are an avid YouTube user and if you want for that to change, reach out to YouTube. If enough people do it, they just might have to change their guidelines to becoming censor-free. Here, listen, we should at least try. Today's topic is very, very close to our hearts. And we're going to peel the onion in a way that we know how to do it because it's coming to us constantly, especially with the videos that we posted over the last week or so. The comments, the emails have come to us and people have said, and I'm paraphrasing and I'm kind of putting them all together now. They're saying it very differently, but really what quintessentially is coming through is, why are we talking about this cabal, this cult? Why are we giving attention to what they're doing or to what their plans might be? And why are we not just simply focusing on all the good stuff that we want to create? And on the surface, this sounds absolutely correct. This sounds like, where, energy flows, where attention goes. And if you just don't focus on something, it's not going to manifest. And we've heard all these things a million times. We know in the spiritual community, the law of attraction teachings have have over the last almost 20 years now really, really gained a lot of popularity, but most of it is simply incomplete and doesn't really paint the whole picture. And we want to paint the whole picture today. Now, here's the thing. Some of the things that we're going to talk about, again, we can only say on a censor-free platform. So we put the link for the Rumble live stream. Again, that's completely free of charge, of course. For the Rumble live stream, we pinned it to the comment section, and also it's going to be in the video description on YouTube. Now, those who are already joining us on Rumble, well, you're already seeing us. Welcome everyone on Rumble. I see a few people, 40 people or so are already here. Wonderful to see you. So you'll see that over there. Okay, let's dive into it. So why do we deem it important to look at events that are planned, to look at how the global cabal cult works, the power structure? Why do we think it's important? Why don't we just focus 100% of our time on just the solution and creating the new? So in order to give a broader picture, I want to give you our viewpoint, our perspective on what has happened in America, in North America, over the past 300-400 years, and why we believe the indigenous people suffered the fate and the destiny that they had suffered on this continent. So basically, if you go, and we have the great, wonderful honor to study with Native American, I mean, that's what we whites call them, but honestly, amongst themselves, they say Indians um, or indigenous people. But we have the great honor to study with them and to learn from them, and we listen a lot and we observe a lot, and so that's the perspective that we've gained. So if you look at the culture of the many indigenous clans and tribes on Turtle Island in North America, then upon close examination, you will see that they had a fairly harmonious lifestyle. That doesn't mean there wasn't warfare. That doesn't mean there wasn't conflict. But they had a way of living in harmony with nature, of truly understanding nature, of viewing all of God's creations as their relatives. So they had a lot going for them, and they weren't suffering from the problems our modern civilization is suffering because of a more harmonious approach to life. So if you look at the skill set that they definitely had way more skills in terms of survival skills than we have today. We rely a lot on technology and other people to provide skills, whereas they had the skills they needed to live, to survive, to thrive. Also, they were really, really good warriors, which was seen in a lot of battles when they defeated an army that was definitely stronger in manpower and in arms. So they had that going for them. They had a very powerful spiritual connection and a very deep understanding. So there was a lot they had going for them. So I asked myself many, many times, why did they suffer this great defeat that they've almost been extinguished over these past few hundred years? And I came to a conclusion, and this is just our observation. We don't claim this is the truth, but this is an observation. There appears to be something in our, in many ways, degenerated culture that apparently wasn't present amongst the indigenous people, and that is the art of deception. I truly believe that they fought hard wars if necessary, and that they were ruthless warriors if they needed to be. I don't think that's out of the question. But what really broke the spirit and the ability to live for them was the breaking of all treaties on part of the government. I don't blame. We shouldn't blame all the people. Let's talk about the entities that were really in charge, which is the government and the armies, and the army. And so I believe up until today, all treaties were broken in one way or more ways or another. So I believe what the indigenous people, what the Indians didn't have, is this access to this dark side of the soul that, or this non-side of the soul, actually, that allows for deception. I believe in their culture, if something was agreed upon, it was agreed upon, and everybody wouldn't even, no one would even think of deceiving the other party and going back on their word, because keeping one's word was the ultimate honor. And so I believe this was done on the part of this cabal that came here and that didn't even think about peaceful coexistence, didn't even think about sharing land. They just came here to conquer, to control, and it's what they have done. So if we fast forward to 2022, to our culture today, we are exactly in the same position as the indigenous people were, with the exception, or with the understanding that it isn't just one culture, one race now. It is all of humanity that is in the same position the indigenous people were in. Now, can we do something different? How can we change, and why is it so important to understand these things? Now, I want to invite you to jump over to Rumble so we can really dig deep. We're going to cut off this live stream here on YouTube. Please use the link in the video description or the link up there in the pinned comment. And let me see if I can make this happen here today. Give me a second. So as I told you guys, we're really new. So we're trying to make this happen and trying to work this out. Let me see. Okie doke. No, this is not the right thing yet. So I'm still trying to figure this out here. So maybe for another day, I'm going to have to actually censor myself or bite my tongue. But please, after this live stream, after we figure this out, hop over to Rumble and make sure that you join us there, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to transfer over there. So the necessity for us to understand and understand what is happening on the planet today will actually help us to create the future that we desire. And people say, well, why do you look at this? And I'm telling the exact same story I just told about the indigenous people. It is because we have to understand how deep the deception goes, because otherwise we shake hands and make agreements with people and entities and groups and governments, and we believe these same entities when they promise us things, when really they go back and break their word every single time. At this current point in our collective experience, we have to acknowledge that government as this broad entity, it's not just officials in positions of government, it's all of that's around it, all the big corporations, the big tech, and the secret groups behind them. I'm going to put them in this term that's wannabe elites, okay? The wannabe elites, let's say this, because they're not elite in any true sense of the word. The wannabe elites, the cabal, what they do is they create a lot of deception. So they'll never come out and say, this is what this is really for. They give us through movies, they give us through weird people in the public realm, they give us through books, they give us a glimpse of what they want to do, but then they use false operations to bring about these changes. So if we don't understand that, if we don't see that, we cannot truly focus our attention on that which we want. And there's another perspective here. People say, if you don't focus on something, then you're not going to manifest it. You're not going to pull it into your experience. We're not going to bring this about. Now, I'll ask you this. If this was true, why is there child trafficking? Why is there human trafficking? Why is there sex slavery? Why are those atrocious crimes happening if 95, 97, 98% of the world are not paying attention, are not even aware that it exists, are never, ever looking at this? If this were true and attention was the thing that creates it, then it shouldn't exist anymore. And so it's simply too simple to look at it that way. One thing that most people don't see, especially when they learn about this law of attraction, which is not a religious thing because it's in every religion. I mean, the Bible talks about this, and Buddhists talk about this, and Hindus talk about this. It's everywhere, but it cannot be looked at as some isolated thing. So what does this mean then, this law of attraction? Well, let me say this to you. If you study a subject, if you do research or go deep down a rabbit hole, and you have unsolved, unhealed trauma inside of you, you have some experience from the past that is unhealed inside of you, that is connected to fear or worry or suffering, then that's going to be activated if you look at things in the world that represent fear or suffering, right? So that's what's going to happen. But if you actually go and heal the past trauma, if you truly heal, if you really forgive, if you really move out of that state of fear by transforming it, by healing it, then your light begins to shine again, because this is your natural state. Having your inner soul light shine is your natural state. That's how we were intended and designed to be. So then, and when we come as shining lights and go into dark places, we don't dim our lights, we shine our lights brightly, and we begin to transform the darkness by shining our lights and doing what needs to be done and taking that inspired action. This is actually how we transform the world. We cannot ignore or put our heads in the sand and just pretend it's not there, because it does not work. And this is what we've been deceived. This is how deep the deception goes. This is why I told the story about the indigenous people and the conclusion we've come to. This is how deep the deception goes. The deception goes into all areas: spirituality, religious systems, political science, everywhere. and it is trying to disempower you from shining your own light. So it will tell those people who have studied the law of attraction, who've studied spirituality, who've studied the laws of frequency and of like attracts like, they will then tell you, if you look at something that's a crime, if you look at something that's a conspiracy, if you look at those things, you're going to bring more of them about. No, no, no. It matters greatly how you look at things. It matters greatly with what intention you look at things. What you attract is not what you want, is not what you look at, is not what you pay attention to. You attract what you are. You pull into your life experience that which is like to your frequency and your vibration. That's what you pull into your experience. And so, because if you would get what you want, billions of people pray and beg the creator, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever they think the name for the creator is in their belief system, they beg and they want so badly for things to happen, and they never happen because they are in the opposite frequency of what they actually want to see in their lives. And so if we truly desire to heal this whole world, which needs healing now, we're so in it, and there is such a acceleration, because this dark cult, this cabal, this force that knows that its days might be numbered, it's throwing everything at us, and it's throwing everything at us at an accelerated speed with more intensity. It's going to continue to do that until we really, really, really awaken, until we really, really, really step out of it. And we can only step out of it when we transform our fears, when we transform what is inside of us that's been there, either passed on through generations or that's been accumulated through life experience when we suffer through all that trauma. And if you live in society today, you have suffered some sort of trauma, because it's a sick society. It's a crazy society. It's a completely insane society. So to be well adjusted to that insane society, to feel normal among society or in society, is actually not a sign of health. It's a sign of you having become too much like it. This is not, I forget whose quote this was. I paraphrased, of course, but it's a powerful quote. So the healing is really what needs to happen. And then from that light standpoint, a true unconditional love standpoint, we walk bravely into these battles that are present and ahead of us and all around us, because we cannot walk away from them. There's only one way, and that's the way through it. But here's the thing. If you come fearlessly, that power ceases to have any control over you, because its only control it truly has is over your perception. And if your perception is poisoned by fear, then you're going to fall into this trap. But if you can heal the fear, transform, and reignite the light that's natural to you, that the creator gave you, that you were given by default, then you become a powerful healer. So if you want to be stuck at step one, then continue with the belief that, oh my God, if I look at this, I'm going to attract this. If you really want to master yourself and master your mind, master your spirit, and be in touch again with the divine creator, you have to go deeper than that. You cannot stop at the first level, at this fake, false, corny, feel-good level that gives you the cotton candy kind of thing, where it's really sugary sweet, but it's not authentic. It's not real. This is basically still the deception that's working on you. It's working on all of us if we let it. And so
it's super limiting.
It is extremely limiting, like Kristin just said, because you will always stop. But what if we all said that? How would we ever fix something? We wouldn't even fix potholes in the roads, because potholes are negative. Potholes, oh my God, if you look at potholes, you're going to attract more potholes. If you put it in that perspective, it sounds pretty stupid, don't it? But that's what we've been taught. So we have to go deeper than that. We have to do the healing, the true, real healing, so we can come to the place again that's innate, that's natural, that we were given, how powerful we really are as creators. And then we can really look at this beautiful, 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 even if it is a simulation, and we talked about this, it's a beautiful simulation. We can look at everything as being our relatives again, and we can walk into the darkest places, into the fiercest battles, and we can shine our lights. And I'll tell you one thing: if you approach an oppressor, someone who appears to be super strong, right? Goliath. If you approach Goliath with fearlessness, 95% of his power is gone, because the power is in what you believe about your opponent, and it's in what you believe about these forces. They are very smart. They're very clever. They have gone into the greatest, to the greatest lengths to create this whole perception around it. And so don't underestimate the cleverness with how they do this. Don't underestimate where they have their fingers. But at the same time, don't ever overestimate their true power, which is creating a perception of deception. That is the only power they have. They're creating a perception of deception, because the numbers game never works out. There's a few thousand people that are really playing this game, and at the top level, only a handful of people that really understand how the game works, versus 8 billion people who are taking the submissive role of going along with this. And it's only through perception. It's only through perception. Once we change it, and you can't do this mentally, you can't just say, oh yeah, I'm not going to be fearful anymore, because the trauma is still going to be there. You have to want to heal. You have to want to heal. I can encourage you, one of the best tools that we've ever discovered and that we've used and we continue to use if need be, is the journey created by Brandon Bass. It's a wonderful process. You can go on her website, Brandon Bass, The Journey, and you can book your session with a practitioner. It's the fastest, most efficient way to heal past trauma and to truly release the power that you were given by the Creator. It's in our experience, excuse me. In our experience. Of course, this might not be the best possible thing for you, but we've seen nothing but wonderful things happen. There's only one condition. That's always the same condition. You really, really have to want to change. It isn't enough to want to change. You have to want to change. And this is the second part of this. If you want a new personal reality, this is Joe Dispenza, you have to first create a new personality, and you have to stop being addicted and attached to your old personality just for sake of being used to it. People say, oh, I don't want to change that much. I won't be who I was. Well, I'm asking you, was being who you were wonderful? Because if it was, wonderful. Continue to be who you were. But if being who you were created suffering in your life and brought you into constant difficulties and had you constantly being behind the 8 ball, being in bad health, having, failing relationships, all these things. If that was your former personality, well, you can transform it, you can shift it, you can change it. It's in your power, but you have to give yourself permission to do so and allow yourself to heal, to transform, and to grow into somebody new. And that somebody new then automatically creates a new personal reality, new personality, new personal reality. So it's way deeper than most people want you to think it is. They want, they want to sell the simplicity of a 3D box, kind of the simplicity of everything needs to be, a 7-step program. It's really easy, it's sugary, it feels good. But what they're really talking to is your instinctual hormonal releases. And that's what they want to do. They want to give you some feel-good phrases, and you're going to feel good for a few hours. And so that's how they keep you hooked, because they show you how to release happy hormones, but they don't show you how to truly change. And that's what we believe is necessary. And so if we can learn one more thing from these beautiful indigenous peoples that have already given us so much in knowledge and wisdom and just in time to contemplate and meditate on, if we can learn one more thing, is that we are not falling prey to the same tactics of this same old cabal that's already was present back then, it's still present now, of deception. And we have to understand that there's nothing good about them. There's nothing beneficial that they want for you. This is empty darkness. It's very, very hard to contemplate and even comprehend if you have just the tiniest bit of love and light in your heart, because it's evil. It's just evil. That's what it is. And the only way we can really comprehend evil is to take into account the ultimate deception and to close it and to give you hard evidence. If you go out and just study and just do a quick research on who the greatest aggressor is throughout the centuries, doesn't matter if it's true or fake history, apparently they are showing us this for a reason. It's always governments. And with governments, that I include these cabal groups because that's who controls the governments. They have killed the most people. They have fought all the wars. They have created all these horrible situations for humanity. So we have to understand that, adjust, heal, shine our lights as bright as we can, and that's what will transform it. And then all you beautiful light workers, you have to then, once you have healed, not before that, once you've healed, once you've reignited that beautiful light of yours, you actually have to be the solution in problem areas. You have to walk into those dark places and help solve these things and help bring change about. Children need us, women need us, men need us, the world needs us, the planet needs us, Mother Earth needs us. Truly, there's so much at stake here, and we need to grow up and truly become the adult spiritual beings that we are. All right. Bless you, my love. Thank you for tuning in. And I noticed with all the thinking about Rumble and the 2 live streams and everything, I didn't mention, of course you heard her, but I didn't mention that my wonderful wife is right here. Kristin is right here. So we're going to figure this out because I want to go even deeper into these subjects. And there's, again, I was biting my tongue a couple times today because there are certain things I cannot say while we're still on YouTube. We're going to figure this out. But for those of you who were watching on YouTube and Rumble today, thank you so much. Please hop over to Rumble and subscribe to our channel. It's where we want to move our live streams. It's where we want to go live with you and chat and be in this deep, inspiring conversation. All right, Inspired Tribe, thank you so much. We love you deeply. We appreciate you. And we'll be here again very, very soon. Be blessed.